building inspections next, I guess.
Yeah. I should be grab hold.
Question, Mr. Carter.
Oh, you mean the salary breakdown? Yeah, I don't think they, because they've had so many, you don't have theirs.
No, and
Yeah.
theirs is difficult, that with the groups of salaries and the step programs, it's really confusing. And I know that's one of the things that he wants to actually.
Well, I think that's, like I said, when we looked at, there's $470,000, $7% increase, I need to sit down with them. There's some of the things, just counting that grant revenue and uses and such.
It brings it right down, yeah.
We gotta work that number down.
We had a work session on communications at one point, I guess it was Verizon, whoever it was, and to address the dead spots for the sheriff's department. Was anything ever?
So the radio system's one thing, he was talking about cell phone coverage,
Yeah.
and that's the private sector. And we've actually met, and Brandy and I are working with a tower developer. We looked at some areas in the Browntown area, we looked at some areas in Rockland. Problem is, for a company to build a tower, they want to see the ability to sign a contract, and interest hasn't been there. Browntown is still, it's a black hole for us for cell coverage.
So that's always.
Well, I think the Assembly is addressing some of those things.
They're providing money,
Right.
but you still, the private sector, we're talking to Comcast, CenturyLink, they have to be willing to come out. Now, I've just got some information. Warren County is 91% covered with wired broadband. We're one of the highest
Yeah.
counties in the state of Virginia. But if you're not part of the 91%, you're still not covered. So it's
And I'll
just,
get with you about that lady that talked about, and she's way up there. but we'll get
Where
together.
the antennas shoot over her head anyway.
I don't know.
I think, and certainly if you get a tower, then you could do wireless. There's other options that may will
But
cost.
the tower companies don't really want to, they don't want to do it unless there's
Money.
money and there's
Yeah,
people
revenue,
that,
right.
the revenue.
Yeah.
If you don't have 100,000 people, they don't want to do
They
it.
could apply for a grant. The grant could go to subsidize and building
Yes.
a tower.
Yes,
And
it
that's
could.
where you get into it. We have had some success in my area. Call me at my house, I had to walk outside and talk to you. Because of the golf courses and, there's been a lot of interest, all the turn of the events, weddings, events and things like that, and trying to, so there's two main areas of the county that are uncovered from a cell phone standpoint. So pretty much your 66, 522, your Route 340s, there's antennas up and down Route 340 South, but once you get off that corridor, you're in no man's land. Luckily the Reliance area, because of 66, and you've got some bleed over, you've got several towers dotting I-66 and I-81, you got coverage. That was where all the traffic was. They went and hit that first. So now we're trying to go back and fill in the holes with the other pieces. And some counties have tried to establish broadband authorities. Some of them are losing money. When they did that, ideally you get the private sector to do it. Now you can get the private sector to do it with government money coming from the state. Or even locally, if the county wants to match it to help incentivize them to put the infrastructure in. But a cell tower down off of Buck Mountain or the Loop somewhere down there would go a long way to provide not only cell coverage but offer the opportunity for wireless broadband.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Happy to be here, hopefully. On my budget, building inspections, David Bain, if none of you were aware. The items of note and the highest numbers that I have are going to be salaries and my computer program process. The salaries, if you notice as far as from the breakdown, I am asking for a slight increase on one employee, mainly because in that position for the permit technicians, I have continually had a turnover in individuals. Not the last one that I've had as far as was a monetary issue, but the prior one, which was a very, very dedicated employee as well as a very talented employee, is in a position where she said the money just wasn't enough to compensate for that. The permit technicians that actually perform their duties properly and very well, they go under a lot of scrutiny as far as at the front counter. It's a position that I feel is underrated, but as you can see, I'm looking at a $770 increase over above what she's at this point in time. Part of it is because I would like to make sure that I can retain her. Every time I have an employee turnover, it's anywhere between $1,000 and $4,000 of initial training costs right off the bat that I have to invest in that employee. So it does get expensive after that.
It's a 771 step.
Yes, I believe so, yes. The other item as far as for mine is going to be the software, and that is an item that is a reoccurring expense. Right now, the subscription for an annual is just a little over $40,000. I expect approximately a 3 to 4% increase again this year. It has steadily gone up, and that's normal for the industry. There are some additionals in there for the simple fact that we do need to make sure that we have the support from their side as far as additional things that we need to have added onto the software program. And that's where the additional is as far as for the 47.5 as opposed to the 40, just a little bit over 40. Those are the largest numbers in my budget. We do have the motor vehicle at the bottom. That number has been staying steady for the last several years. What we've done is we've allocated that $5,000 for a replacement fund, and it basically goes into special projects so that when a vehicle is needing to be replaced, we have those monies set aside so that we're not having to expend those all at one time.
Again, like we did with the sheriff's department, some of these other budgets, we'd rather budget $4,000 or $5,000 a year for 6 years than have a one-time $30,000 hit in the budget. So
Do you know how much money's in that budget now?
I would have to find out. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if that's part of your packet or not.
No.
It is not, okay.
But Connie can get you that.
I can get that for you and go over that as far as that goes. I do believe that it's probably in approximately $20,000 to $25,000 at this point in time.
So if we needed it, there, we could have a vehicle relatively quickly.
Yes, yes. The other large number as far as within the, in that is going to be the operation of motor vehicles as well, maintaining it, making sure that they're properly conditioned so that we're not having to replace a vehicle every couple of years, because you probably know, and Bob can attest, the road systems and the back roads where we're doing most of our traveling tear up vehicles very rapidly, and it is something that we have to take into consideration. We do try to maintain our vehicles so that they do last as far as just the normal washing, cleaning, things of that nature to get those taken care of.
You got a horse?
Huh?
You got a horse?
I do have a horse. I could opt to do that. I wouldn't mind that.
So,
But,
Mr. Bean, what is the volume? I know that building new starts have not increased much. So, what is the volume that you guys are doing, like in terms of how many permits and how much the frequency and that? Do you have that kind of data?
Yes,
Okay.
we do. I provide that on a regular basis. That goes to the county administrator.
Okay.
I can get that information for
This
you.
would be interested
This
in
sheet
just-
right there,
okay.
in your packet, the graphs
Okay.
show you for like the last 5 years, the number of permits and inspections. So the blue are the actual permits issued, and that could be anything from a new house permit to a replacing a toilet, and electric permit, whatever. The red inspections performed. So obviously you can see there.
Toward the back.
I got it.
Yep.
We're averaging approximately 1,100 inspections a month
Okay.
with 2 inspectors at this time, full-time inspectors. If you notice in my numbers and my personnel breakdown sheet, I have positions available for part-time inspectors. I do call those in every once in a while, but it's seldom at this point in time because we're able to maintain those. So that money is there in the part-time budget if I need to pull somebody in. I have had the prior building official from Shenandoah County on our staff. I've had some of my older inspectors come in to help us out when necessary. Charles Licklider had come back in, which amazes me because he's upwards probably mid-80s at this point in time, but he still gets around pretty well.
You'll notice on page 3 of the justification, there's a line, the actual number, building inspections
There
In
it
16,
is.
17, it was 10,090. Projection for 1920 is 12,000. Part of that is you got a building like the hospital that's going up. There's, you're parking somebody there several days a week just doing inspections for a project like that.
Now, one of the things you don't see in this particular one, it actually dropped off this year, is when we were doing the Dominion Power Plant, I
Right.
had a full-time inspector out there, and that was his sole job to be there on the site, because he was performing anywhere between 15 and 20 inspections per day. So it was something that he needed to stay up on. He was reviewing the plans as they would go forward to make sure. And our interaction with the Dominion Power Plant was such that it was foundation and building. It wasn't equipment, it was just the foundation in the building. And if you care to, I can show you some of the pictures that some of the foundations out there are 30 feet deep, and there's rebar everywhere within there. So those were the types of things that were going on at that time. But that
Yeah.
fell off this past time.
I have a question on either of you or Doug. You bring in revenue.
Yes.
Where does your revenue, does that go into the general fund? Is that earmarked to
So-
offset some of your expenses?
It does go,
It's-
it goes to the general fund.
It's supposed to
If you look at the
offset.
bottom of the first sheet in the packet,
Okay.
you look, there's the budget, 628,000. Building and related fees generates $375,000. That's, I guess, estimated as far
Estimated.
as, and we'll take a look at those revenue estimates as we go along. So
Okay.
of the 628,000 in the budget, about 375,000 is paid for by building fees.
Okay.
Every couple of years, we do look at the building fees to make sure they're compatible with the region. And I would think, well, you did that about a year or two ago.
Actually, it's been about 3 years. Time flies, yes.
Time to look at it again. but,
It may be. I do know that some of the localities are looking at to readjust their fees. And it's interesting because once one jurisdiction does a fee adjustment, then the others start looking to see. So it's kind of a hopscotch. Shenandoah will do one, Frederick will do one, we'll do one, Clark County will do one. It kind of hopscotches.
I'll say this, and it's hard to staff and ramp up when you get busy, but back in 2004, 2005, there was a couple years we made a couple $100,000 a year, meaning more revenue than expense for the department.
Let's do that again.
When you're doing
Yeah.
well, if you do 450 houses a year, you can do that.
Yes.
It puts a strain on staff, but you will in effect, on that end, make money. Of course, on the school side, you may lose, but you can generate a positive cash flow when you're at 150 on the lower end. I think if you get closer to 225, 250,
225,
you'll be
250.
more of break even or on the positive side. But
I know we're running close on time here,
Yes.
but I've got the capital outlay request form. Has that already been,
I've got that in the capital outlay budget to cover, and we'll talk about.
so we don't have to worry
We don't
about
have to worry,
that?
it's not part of his actual, he's made the request and
Several
actually has
years.
made it for a couple of years, but we've got the money. And basically it's reconfiguring the counter, the carpet is worn, in here we've replaced the carpet in the admin suite and the treasurer, commissioner revenue. We're doing it in the new finance suite. That's the one part of the building, that extension. We have not replaced the carpet, haven't touched it.
That's
Probably
all
get
that I
some of
need.
the heaviest traffic in the building.
Yeah.
The Contract.
Boots and,
Yes.
And that'll be done by county staff, that's not being outsourced.
More likely not, that'll be Allen and Lee doing the reconfiguration. The carpet, we can get off state contract and they'll come in and replace the carpet, but, yeah.
Some of the stuff that's.
Reconfiguration be county staff.
Unless we got any more questions, Mr. Bean?
Just one, if you will.
Go ahead.
Okay, how about the working with the town, interfacing with the communications and how does that work in that, as far as the permits?
They have been relatively good. There are some glitches because the personnel still have to talk and discuss, but the actual communication in the software system has been good. However, with the changes over in the town side, the individuals that we dealt with through the system are no longer there. So that's, I don't know how that's going to affect it.
Okay.
I just have one.
One person said too now.
Your largest dollar item increase is health insurance. Which we talked about before, you budgeted 10%. You did that for all the departments? Not sure.
I've not reviewed the sheriff, we gave him
Just
direction.
saying, he only
That's
came
him.
up with 1.68,
Yeah.
so
That's it.
maybe about $500,000, and so I just keep that in the back of your mind, there may be something else that it goes up. So, you need to also, you could start bringing up further.
No worries.
The one item that I would like to say, and I just received this sheet yesterday, and I don't know how long you've had it. One of the items that is in the lower, the purple, if you notice the drastic increase, there are two line items that have never been really accounted for in the budget and budgeting. We have now started taking the payments for MDIA in-house, the electrical third-party contract. So that money is coming in, we have to actually allocate it out. So it doesn't show that it's a revenue coming in because the money is just sitting there and then it goes back out. And that was $50,000.
We can easily add that.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out because when I looked at the numbers, I was kind of like, whoa, what happened? And I just wanted to, if you had any questions, I did want to say that. The other line item is a plan review item, and that was for a one-time item for the hospital. They had a very tight schedule. I do all the reviews for the major projects myself. So they were able to, well actually the cost of the permit fee, we were taking that fee money, which is going to cost us in the end because we have still expenses going out, to allocate a third-party review firm. And if you look at it, it's approximately $19,000. And it was a one-time review. I still continued the review process throughout the entire process after that. So
We've done that for like the regional.
schools, our own county projects, because we felt it was a benefit so that it was outside. We didn't have the ownership of saying somebody, well, you shortcut this by doing this. We had a third party do the original review and then we proceeded.
And that was done for the hospital project?
It was done for the hospital project to expedite the review. They did that review.
And we can't push that cost off to them, or because it was,
We could, but that would be a change in all of our fee schedule.
Work that way.
But those are the actual costs. If we had to do that outside, it would have cost us even more. I think the original estimate was for a full review was close to $50,000 to do a full review. Our permitting fee was approximately $40,000.
So about, of the 40, about half that went to hiring an outside firm.
Outside firm to do the initial review, and then I continued it on from there. If any of you would like to come over and sit down, if you have more questions, I'm more than happy to get you those answers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a
Appreciate
good
your
morning.
time.
And I'll see you later tonight.
Ms. Monica.
You got an email to take quarter about the signal tag.
Thank you. Thank you. Morning.
Nice to see you with the way.
It's much bigger difference there, huh?
Good
Morning.
morning.
good money.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
We can always complain, try not to.
It's not worth the effort.
Got some new faces, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Monica Martin. I'm the Chief Magistrate for the 26th Judicial District. That includes Warren County and 5 other counties and 2 cities.
So you got the budget, she's shown a 0% request in your packet. Listened very well.
I try and keep the needs down.
I'll say this, just since we were able to move out to the RSW night and day as far as the old facilities and the old jail.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, basically, I'll say a room, but it's that back room to the right, I know.
The other one was very outdated, very, lack of better words, disgusting. But it worked. It worked. Now that we're out at the new jail, it is a very nice facility, much cleaner, easy to work with. No real new needs. Last year we got the 2 new shelving units, and that was taking care of the needs. And right now it's just a matter of supplies and what's needed to run the office, and nothing extra.
And that will remain permanent place of where you have your office in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most magistrates are at the jails. It's due to safety for officers and everyone involved. That way they go straight there instead of shopping around.
Are y'all still doing some by teleconference?
Absolutely. We do quite a bit by teleconference.
So like if Woodstock Police pick somebody up, they can go to the office and video in from your office. They don't have to necessarily come to ours, but.
We can cover any of the offices in our district and actually in our region, which goes even further out. Say if Loudon has to recuse themselves, our magistrates will actually hear that. Say if maybe one of their officers, somebody's requesting a charge against them, we can go on video and take care of that, and vice versa. If something happens here where maybe we know the person and we don't feel comfortable doing the probable cause hearing or the bond hearing, we can ask another locality to do it, and that's the video that he's talking of. It's live, it's allowed by code, it's not recorded, but it takes care of business very well. Just like when Woodstock has an arrest and I don't have a magistrate sitting there, they can go on the video there and speak with the magistrate here live, and we can do everything, and they can still obtain the original warrant or what's needed there.
I know it's a little funky. Rappahannock, which is part of the regional jail, is not part of your district.
But they're part of our region, so
Part of the
we
region.
can issue for them.
Okay.
What are the salaries for magistrates?
Salaries for magistrate, it varies. If they're attorneys, if they're not attorneys, you're not required, but it's anywhere between 40 and 50,000 a year.
Where are they listed in our budget? Or
You
are
do
they
not
funded?
pay them.
We don't pay them.
We do not
Okay,
work-
I was wondering,
This
is
was like,
one
how
of
do
those.
they not have any salaries on?
Oh, we do everything volunteer out of the good of our heart. Believe that, and I'll tell you another. We actually work for the Supreme Court of Virginia.
Okay,
We
so
do not
you're,
work for localities because of
Okay.
politics.
I did
and-
not realize that,
Yes.
okay.
So we're all required to provide office space and office
Okay,
costs. So
good
all
deal.
of, each county is budgeting, and
So
Monica
we
gets to
probably
go
have the
around.
best budget you're gonna look
Yeah.
at today.
I was gonna say, woohoo.
Don't even know why you're here.
Yeah, I like
Nice
to
to
meet
meet you.
everybody.
Yeah,
Very nice to meet
But
you.
yeah, you all don't pay any of the salaries, any of the benefits. At one time, we were allowed to ask for a stipend, but that's been changed in the code. If that comes back, we will be coming back to request that, simply to try and keep good magistrates due to pay. The pay is not the best for magistrates when they're only making 40 to 50 and they work shift work and that. So I do lose them left and right, and when we could ask for that additional salary, it was great, but right now the code is not directed in that fashion. If it changes, I'll be coming begging, and y'all will see me for that. Right now, I am short one magistrate. That spot's been empty for almost 2 years that I keep looking and looking, but I can't find the proper person.
Now, it has to be a,
magistrates do you have?
In the district for the 6 counties and 2 cities, there are 17 plus myself. Right now, I only have 15 because I'm also short one in Winchester.
When you're short, can't cover, say, shifts, do you try to double up and send to one of the other offices and use the video?
We use the video. We use the video. Sometimes it could be Winchester or Harrisonburg covering. It could be, like right now this morning, there's somebody in Woodstock, but not somebody here at RSW. In the afternoon, that'll switch.
Oh.
But the video will cover, so there will still be service. It may just not be sitting here during this shift.
they're lawyers or no?
Some are, some are not. The code does not require that a magistrate be a lawyer. The code requires that they have a bachelor's degree. A magistrate is not trying the case. The best way to look at it is a magistrate determines what you will be charged with, but a judge will determine what you are found guilty or not guilty of. So we are hearing the probable cause, interpreting if it fits a code or not, and then issuing them out for that independent, non-biased judicial person.
Any additional questions? Monica, thank you very much for
Nice to
coming to
meet
visit.
you.
Nice to meet you. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
It's a big job. It's a big job, a big area.
Yeah, I would think so.
And you
Mr.
imagine
Chairman.
you're in a video for one and the phone's ringing for another.
And somebody waiting in the hall.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, do you need another donut when I get up? Is
No.
it time for another donut?
I am good. Thank you.
Hey, good morning.
I've been pulling through this, like the tax stuff. I talked to James last week about tonight's discussion about that.
Yes, I was just talking to David about it.
We got a list pulled together.
Yeah, I've got a few things to
Gotta
go.
look and see how many, a lot of the construction. Yeah.
I was just getting ready to do it for
It was about
But I know you don't like ice coffee.
30 of those delinquent, renewed a depot license,
They renewed it, right?
renewed with the state. So they renew the state, but they can't pay the loan. I got a problem with that. I think they need to cough it up.
I like that attitude.
I mean, it's not fair to the ones that get their license
Right,
and pay for their license.
right.
And Jamie's coming too, because it's kind of a rural area anyway.
Oh, yeah, she's watching that.
I just kind of seen the opportunity to jump in.
My first.
Glad you did.
My first.
I had mine early.
Y'all, I'm trying so hard, but y'all make it difficult.
No. Do we want to wait on Tony?
As long as
Oh,
they
there
say
he is.
maple, when you bring out the chocolate, I'm done.
Say, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know, I know you by face, but I don't know you by name.
Sherry Sowers.
Okay,
I'm on
sure.
the back of the tax bills.
I'll remember that.
Just flip it over.
But appreciate you coming for Commissioner of Revenue, is that right?
Yes, Commissioner
Okay.
of Revenue.
You are more than happy to help us through your budget.
Okay,
You've got a whole 10 minutes.
a
So.
whole 10 minutes. Well, do you all have any questions about anything line by line on my budget?
Line by line, we're trying to stay away from that if we
Okay.
can. If we've got
Okay.
questions, we'll come see you.
Okay.
So
The-
I'm noticing
the
that
major
telephone
things.
is like an increase over
Yeah.
everybody's budget,
Yes.
35%. So it's, yeah, so is that cell phones or what is that? Why is it increased 35%? Does anybody know?
Have you added anybody getting a cell phone stipend that wasn't on there before?
We've got 3 people and I'm cutting those
But if
these
you,
last 6 months.
Well, I'm
to cut
noticing
out.
that
Look-
that's on
but
everybody's.
look at her budget for
Okay.
telephone. So
Yeah.
in 17-18, they spent 5309. In 18-19, they spent 5492. The budget this year is 4161. Now, Sherry had to go back and make some cuts to her budget, and obviously she's cut her phone line, but 5600 is pretty close to what she spent in 17-18 and 18-19. So it's showing a
It's showing a
1439.
35% increase.
I don't think it's a realistic increase.
Okay.
When you look at, she was
Okay.
actually spending,
All right.
and what she will have to do is, if she get down to the end of the fiscal year, she'll have to come in with a transfer form and say, I need to move about $1,200-1,300 from travel and training over to telephone to make up the shortfall. That's one of the things that will bite it. But, yeah, so I think it's, yeah, you look at what the current appropriation is and what the request. The reality is her request is in line with where the actuals have been for the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I guess my question would be, because these are fairly across the board easy to explain things, but I know you were telling me some of your responsibilities that I had no idea, and so you might want to tell Mrs. Oates and Mr. May, and then where are you hurting?
All over. The last budget cut, as you can see, I'm going to be over in a lot of categories. It was like a $8,000 cut.
The 1.2% last year, whenever I had to go back to the
Right.
end and
Yeah.
trim.
I didn't have to make the cuts. So what I'm doing, I'm not going to get any. I have $3,000 in computers. Current budget, I'm not getting it. I'm going to cut the stipend, which is like $135 a month. Now, talking about the expenses, we do have more phone and more activity during the general reassessment because we've got people calling in, wanting information, and we have to return calls and so forth and so on. So that does peak our office work. But like we've got a $5,000 bill coming up for the spring NADA assessments. That
What
comes
is
out.
that?
That's the National Automotive Dealers Association. It's actually under J.D. Power now. But that's where we send out we send the VIN numbers out and we get return assessed values on the majority of the vehicles.
You're talking about countywide.
You
Yeah,
asked me about that
countywide.
question, you saw JD Power and said, what's that? And it was CNAD.
That's what that is.
And that's used to put on when you tax my vehicles?
Yes.
They give
Yes.
you the true value
Yes.
or their estimated value, right?
They
You
give
use
us the
them.
value that we
Yep.
use out of the NADA book,
Yep.
Okay.
the trade-in value. So we get those back and then we assess manually all the other types of properties that they do not assess. The mobile homes, the campers and trailers, motor homes, They don't assess any of that stuff. A lot of the motorcycles they don't assess. The business equipment, they don't assess. All that's got to be manually done every year. So it takes, and then there's a kick-out list of errors. Once they can't assess, maybe the VIN number is wrong, or there's no values in the book, or something along those lines. So then we have to go through and manually do those.
Is there a schedule of when that stuff depreciates, it comes off of your book? Or is it the value of some of the stuff goes down? Or do you maintain the same value?
You mean like on vehicles?
Yeah, on campers or,
Most of the time, they do drop a little bit each year. Every once in a while, we'll see something go up a year. Like if the gas prices drop. Well, then that may make the bigger vehicles change in value. Or if there was a while there where everybody was buying the smaller vehicles when the gas prices were high to try to save money, on gas. So that affects the market value of these vehicles. Now, like in this area, trucks are big, and they generally hold their value. SUVs are big because, some of the larger families and stuff, they need, the seating and all. So certain vehicles, it depends on the demand, that keeps the market
Do
value
people
up.
come in and dispute the value of their vehicles?
Yes. And as
If
soon
you go
as
trade it in, you're not gonna get JD Powers.
no, you drive it off the lot
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
dropped
Yep.
right there. So, but that does fluctuate, Business equipment, that's taxed by percentage of cost. We drop 10% each year, we hold at 10. Machinery and tools, we drop those down 10% each year, but we hold that like at 30.
Do you have enough people?
Do we have enough people? I can always use more help. I looked to see when was the last time that had an additional position, was in 2003. I have upgraded 2 positions, the last one being in December of 18, where I upgraded a D1 to a D3 position, which was an auditor. And we are working now to address some of the delinquencies on the businesses. We have people that's not following the meals tax and the lodging taxes, as well as we're working on the business personal property. So all that comes into play with the businesses.
have machinery and tools in, say, like factories. Does that change any, or does that depreciate also?
Sometimes you have some places that will do an addition or they do something. When they add more equipment,
Yeah.
Of course that makes the value go up some.
But normally it goes from 70% of value down to
30.
and then it holds at 30.
On machinery and tools, yeah.
30.
And we have the lower tax rate
Yeah.
on machinery and tools. So,
I didn't realize that one of the responsibilities was, they have to go through and check to make sure that if you have a business or whatever, that you've got all the state requirements.
the contractors, yes, the contractors have to have the D4 license before we can issue a local license. They have to have workers' comp. If we have an outside contractor come in, they have to have Virginia workman's comp. They can't have the out-of-state, because if someone gets hurt here, it won't cover them. Like if somebody comes out there, in any of the businesses on the north end to do a big job, they've got to have the workman's comp in Virginia. And they have to have their Virginia D4, which is the state, so. But they have to have both of those.
And there's not, you were talking about cross-referencing D4 to local licenses where they'll file D4, but they won't file for local.
Right, they'll renew the D4 license, but they won't pay the local.
Right. So there's a cross-reference option for you. Good.
Yeah, the D4 license is open to public. You can go out there and look at
Right.
it online. So we go into that a lot. And then another change that we've had this year on new people coming in for businesses It used to be a fictitious name. You would go to the clerk's office and file. As of January 1st, 2020, they changed it. Everything goes to State Corporation Commission now. So everything's done through SCC. Even your small businesses.
So with your current budget, does this give you what you need supplies-wise and everything to get you through without running low?
What I asked for in this current request does have everything that I need, yes. I basically asked before the cuts was in the last budget, so that I wouldn't be in the hole again. I do have, our copy machine lease is coming up. We're gonna try to save a little bit of money on that, but it's not gonna make a whole lot of difference. We share that expense with the treasurer's office.
And they know, Sherry knows, get down to the end of the day, last few months, and if something breaks, something has to be replaced, they can come and ask for the board to appropriate additional. We have a reserve for a contingency fund that we can address it, and I always tell that to the treasurer as well. We got us in the tax bill, that's a given, otherwise you don't get the revenue, so.
And we have to have the computers working in order to take care of the people when they come in.
Right.
And to take the money in, treasurer side. We can't have down computers.
So
Doesn't
do
work.
you said that was one of the things you were not gonna be able to get this year?
That, in the current budget, I'm not because of cuts.
How about next year? I mean, if
I've got
She's
it
got
in
two.
here.
she's got it two in
She's got
there.
two
Okay.
in there.
That's what I thought.
She could, July 1, she could replace them versus, say, April, May.
Okay.
Okay.
That's,
Will that work for you?
Yeah. I can hold off a year. So,
Well, hopefully if we can get some of those business licenses taken care of, that help.
yes, that would help a lot.
Almost this hours, unless anybody else has got a question. You've done well for us.
Well, tried.
Thank you.
Thank you.